Hi folks, my name is Steven, and as you probably already know if you clicked on this video, I am making a game. What kind of game, you might be wondering? Well, that is what I hope to make clear by the end of this video. I'm going to be going over the core sort of game loop at a high level, and then digging a bit deeper into some of the world simulation and procedural generation systems that make that loop possible. First, the usual disclaimer, everything here is under active development and anything could change at any time. So the game follows a mission-based sort of structure, where you will start a session in some kind of hub, like an inn, or maybe your camp in the wilderness. From the hub, you can talk to NPCs and find work to do, you can level up your character, buy things from merchants, that kind of stuff, and then once you're all set, you pick a direction and go do some kind of mission out in the world. So here we're starting in one of those hubs. This is the Redwater Inn. It's a little bit bare bones because it's still under development, but this is the kind of place where you would find more work to do, talk to NPCs, talk to merchants, maybe swap out members of your party, that kind of thing. We do have over here an NPC who needs help. So if we chat with him, let's see what he needs. So you can see that he wants us to rescue his brother, which is one of those missions that I was talking about. At this stage, it's probably a good time to start talking about some of those systems and where this NPC and his quest is even coming from. The structure of the game is facilitated by three main systems. The first system is the world simulation system. So this is the system that makes sure the world evolves over time in a consistent and grounded way, and that your actions have a meaningful impact on the world around you. So within the world simulation systems, there are things like reputation, economy, population of the different villages, factions, and how they feel about you or each other, like all these kinds of high-level simulation systems that control the general world state. The second system that I want to talk about is the narrative system. So this is a system that tries to generate stories that are grounded in the state that's maintained by the world simulation system. So the narrative system has a bunch of these story blocks which describe the structures that stories can take. And those blocks can be slotted together in lots of kinds of ways to create, a wide variety of different stories. So because this inn is next to a forest, the narrative system is drawing upon stories that make more sense in this context, i.e. a missing person lost in the woods. If the world was in a different state, then the narrative system would draw on different story blocks that are more appropriate for that state. Like if the economic situation in this town was bad, then banditry would be higher and you would be more likely to get stories related to dealing with bandits. I mentioned a reputation system before. This reputation is not simply good versus evil or famous versus unknown. It's got several different dimensions, like selfish to selfless, lawful to unlawful, that kind of thing. And the way that I am really hammering this guy for as much money as I can get out of him is definitely going to increase my reputation as a selfish person. And that will affect the future quests that are available to me and how they might play out as a result of the narrative system drawing on that world state, that I am well known as a selfish mercenary. Now that we have our quest, we're ready to leave this in, so we just head out the door, and that brings up the world map. So you can see the layout of the world here. Got a bunch of different markers. This one shows where you currently are. These markers show the other hubs that you have access to, like the marketplace in the capital, or this fishing village over here, for example. And this green marker shows a mission that we have available. You can see here we gotta find Gerald's brother. If we need a reminder about what exactly is involved with that, we have our quest log we can take a look at. If we're choosing between different quests and we aren't sure what we want to do, And then once we've chosen, we just click on it and away we go. And here's where I want to talk about the third system that makes up the world simulation and story generation aspect of my game. So the third system is the level procedural generation system. So when the narrative system has a story that it wants to tell, that story is rendered into configuration for the procedural generation system. So that configuration will look something like this. Like for this current quest we're doing, it'll be give me a lengthy forest with a bunch of different branches in it so that the player has to do a lot of investigation to find the missing brother. Let's put some typical forest obstacles in the way, like wolves or what have you. And then at the very end of the forest, we want to find the brother and have a little conversation with him. So the lost brother story gets rendered into that configuration. That configuration gets passed to the procedural generation system, which can then generate an environment that matches that specification. So a lot of the environment procedural generation stuff around more complicated combat or perils and puzzles and stuff to overcome is not quite ready for showtime yet, so I'm going to just skip over that and get to the end of this quest. I'm currently expecting that a mission will typically take about 20 minutes to complete, but we'll see how that works in playtesting. So here we've found Joral's brother, and we have a little conversation, he thanks us, and now that the mission is done, we will return to the nearest hub, which if you're in the wilderness is going to be your wilderness camp. If we were doing a mission in a town or immediately adjacent to a town, then we might go back to the closest inn. But in this case, we're back in our wilderness camp, which is also not entirely implemented yet, so it's a little bit barren. Eventually this camp will be full of helpful things that you'll want to use in between missions. You can see that Joral's brother has followed us back to our camp here. When you have to escort an NPC somewhere, this is typically how it'll work. They just hang out in your camp, you don't have to literally escort them through the world, because, we all know how frustrating that can be. When we're ready, we can head out of the camp, that'll bring up the world map again, and we can go to the Redwater Inn to get our money from Joral. The most important part of the quest as far as my character is concerned. And now that we've finished the quest, our actions during it feed back into that world simulation system. So the fact that we saved Joral's brother will have a rippling impact on the world. Maybe not a very large one in this case, but depending on the quest. Maybe if we had failed to save Joral's brother, Joral himself would have gone into the woods and also gotten lost, and then that would have been another character snuffed out of our story. So all in all, I think it's good that we saved Joral's brother. So that's the end of our high-level overview of the game loop, and also closes the loop on those three systems I was talking about. The benefits of those three systems are that the world simulation system lets the game keep the world grounded and evolving in a sensible way, just over time or in response to your choices. The narrative system tries to come up with narratively satisfying series of events that make sense within the context of the current world simulation. And then the procedural generation system means that whatever is generated by the narrative system, we can come up with an environment to tell that story in without having to specifically make that environment. As another example, you can imagine, say, that this fishing village down here has fallen on rough economic times. Maybe there's some blight that's killed all the fish, so the economic situation in the town is bad. When the economic situation is bad, crime and banditry go up. So we have, according to the world simulation, this town with a lot of increased banditry. Maybe someone hires you to find and clear out the bandit camp. That would be a fairly typical sort of search and destroy story structure. That story block would expect to have several other story blocks plug into it, like a number of obstacles along the way, and then some kind of climax at the end. Maybe, in this example, the climax that's chosen is a twist, where when you find the object you're seeking to destroy, you're faced with a choice about whether you should actually protect it instead. So one way that could be expressed is maybe the bandits are hiding in the middle of a haunted forest, and when you find their camp, it's surrounded by undead. And you've got to make a decision about whether you let the undead wipe out the bandits and potentially let this undead population grow, or whether you kill the undead and save the bandits. So that story gets rendered to that configuration that's passed to the procedural generation system. It'll ask for a bunch of normal forest that transitions to haunted forest, and then there's a bandit camp at the end, and the bandit camp is surrounded by undead. And then this quest configuration might have two endings, one where you kill the undead and save the bandits, and one where you let the bandits die. And then those outcomes can feed back into the world simulation system. Like, for example, if you let the undead kill the bandits, now the bandit level in the area goes down, but the undead monster level goes up. And that will affect the future quests that are available to you. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's the game in a nutshell. In future videos, I'm going to be diving into the combat system and character building and other aspects in a much deeper way. So if this sounds interesting to you, subscribe and come along for the journey. Until next time, good luck out there.